How the US leads in space technology and national security. The United States is at a critical juncture in the space technology landscape, and the stakes are higher than ever. With the rise of advanced space technologies, the country is poised to either seize a strategic advantage or risk falling behind its adversaries. But here's where it gets interesting. The US is home to a thriving ecosystem of companies pushing the boundaries of space innovation, from lunar landers to satellite servicing systems. These pioneering firms are taking on missions once dominated by government agencies, and the results are nothing short of remarkable. Take, for instance, the US lead in space launch. By nearly every measure, the country is outpacing its competitors, whether it's the number of launches, total mass to orbit, or satellite count. The emergence of SpaceX has been a game changer, providing regular, reliable, and relatively affordable launches that have democratized access to space. But this is the part most people miss. The US government have a unique opportunity to leverage this expertise to advance its national security interests. The remote sensing and data analysis industries have experienced explosive growth over the last decade, driven by technological advancements, cheaper space launch, and new investment-based business models. This presents a tantalizing prospect for the US government. By partnering with these industries, it can unlock strategic advantages that would be impossible to achieve alone. But what does this mean in practice? For one, it could involve harnessing the power of remote sensing to enhance national security, whether through monitoring enemy troop movements or detecting early warning signs of natural disasters. However, not everyone is convinced that the US is doing enough to address the growing national security risks posed by Russia and China's advancements in space weaponry. In a recent op-ed published in Time, Kathleen Curley and Andrew Hanna sounded the alarm on the dangers of anti-satellite ASAT systems, which could potentially cripple the US military's ability to operate in space. Their proposal for a US-led military alliance in space is sure to spark controversy, but it raises an important question. What is the best way for the US to counter the growing threat of ASAT systems? As the US navigates this complex landscape, one thing is clear. The country cannot afford to take orbit of opportunity. How commercial space innovation is revolutionizing US national security. A seismic shift is happening above us right now. One that could redefine global security for generations. The US faces a pivotal moment where embracing commercial space innovation isn't just advantageous, it's existential for national defense. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Our current systems are dangerously slow to adapt, while rivals advance rapidly. Let's unpack why this demands urgent action. In March 2025, the US Space Force observed 5 Chinese spacecraft performing coordinated maneuvers in low Earth orbit. Officials bluntly termed this dogfighting in space, a real-world combat trial, not science fiction. This chilling event underscores that the next military frontier is already active overhead. America's ability to maintain supremacy hinges entirely on leveraging commercial space capabilities before adversaries outpace us. Space has transformed into a contested battlefield, with recent conflicts proving its strategic value. During the Ukraine war, forces countered Russian cyber attacks by switching to Starlink satellite internet. A RAND Corporation analysis concluded this intervention was so vital that Ukrainian commanders believed defeat might have followed without it. Meanwhile, China's massive investments include thousands of low Earth orbit satellites designed to track and potentially obstruct US naval operations near Taiwan and elsewhere. Chinese craft now shadow American government satellites across orbits, challenging critical sensing and communication networks. This evolving landscape presents both a crisis and an unprecedented opportunity. Senior defense leaders openly acknowledge that traditional military procurement cycle moved too slowly. The solution? Harnessing the agility of private space companies. Here's where America holds a decisive edge. Between 2022 and 2023, US defense and dual-use space startups secured $35 to $36 billion in private funding, rivaling the entire Pentagon R&D budget. In 2024 alone, SpaceX launched 138 Falcon 9 rockets, surpassing all other nations and companies combined. Unbound by bureaucratic cycles, these firms innovate at breakneck speed. The advantages extend beyond velocity to radical cost efficiency. A Rocket Lab Electron launch costs a fraction of traditional Pegasus missions, while SpaceX's Falcon Heavy matches the Delta IV Heavy's capability at a quarter the price. Companies are strategically betting on reusability, rapid iteration, and scalable infrastructure to continuously evolve and slash expenses. These innovations yield game-changing capabilities. Commercial mega constellations like Starlink and Amazon's Kuiper enable resilient, large-scale communications. Soon, replacing satellites may cost less than an enemy's attempt to destroy them. Meanwhile, firms like Planet Labs, Maxar, and Hawkeye 360 deliver real-time imaging and signal intelligence. Distributed systems inherently more adaptable than legacy platforms. Even the Department of Defense acknowledges this shift, noting commercial providers' speed and scalability in its latest strategy. Competition has already driven traditional contractors like United Launch Alliance toward greater agility. But here's the controversial pivot. To fully capitalize, national security leaders must make commercial integration central to defense planning. This means dramatically simplifying access to government facilities and security clearances, expanding prototype contracts, and ending bias toward legacy providers. More contentious? Allocating 10 to 20% of procurement budgets to emerging players, a move some argue prioritizes innovation while others deem it financially reckless. What's your take? Should established contractors fear disruption? Accountability is equally crucial. Program executive officers overseeing core missions, not just innovation units, should directly incorporate commercial solutions into future systems. The Army's Starlink pilot exemplifies this potential, delivering broadband at 1/3 the latency of traditional systems. Scaling such successes requires designing space architectures around private sector rhythms, fast, flexible, and built for constant evolution. The window is closing. Commercial space offers America a generational chance to modernize defense posture, boost resilience, and dominate the ultimate warfighting domain. But this demands bold choices today. One provocative question lingers. If we hesitate, could over-reliance on slow-moving bureaucracies cede space dominance to China? Share your perspective below. The stakes couldn't be higher.